What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Fig Heel YouTube channel. Today, we have a fun topic to talk about. What if Mattel lost the WWE license and another company picked it up? Well, today we have a little insight as to what that might have looked like if WWE went with Spin Masters instead of Mattel. All right, guys. So I am excited about this one. Today, a company known as Wheeljack's Lab on eBay. They sell a lot of collectibles, thousands of collectibles in their store. They have a lot of prototypes, but today they put up some WWE prototypes from Spin Masters of all companies. That's right. We've never gotten Spin Masters WWE figures, but it seems like we could have, because apparently Wheeljacks received some prototypes from a former Spin Masters employee of WWE superstars in a 6-inch scale and a 12-inch scale. I'm talking about Roman Reigns. I'm talking about Undertaker. I'm talking about John Cena. And based on these names and the attires, we can only assume that these figures were probably worked on between 2016 and 2018. Mattel was up to renew the license with WWE in 2019, which is when they did sign and renew. So I'm sure that companies were reaching out to WWE trying to acquire that license in the event that Mattel did not pick it back up. So this is very exciting for us to take a look at. So we're going to jump right into everything and really unpack this, right? So we're going to start off with a 6-inch scale Roman Reigns. And here it is. You'll notice that he has that Ultimate Edition torso. This is pre him going out with leukemia. So this has to be like a 2016, 2017 era Roman Reigns, I would say. You'll notice he has the gauntlet on the wrist and the glove. The tattoo is full arm now. He's got the tactical gear. The likeness isn't exactly there, but you have to remember, I posted this on my Instagram. A lot of people trashing the likeness. You have to remember, this is a pitched prototype, which means the company didn't have access to WWE. Spin Masters did not have access to them to scan the superstars, to do any of that. So this was a full-on sculpt. This is not exactly what these figures would have looked like, but this is like, hey, here's what we can do. What do you think? For instance, the articulation might have even been different if they got the license. But there's a couple of things that I do like about this. I think, and I've always thought this, Mattel's arms and bodies are not bulky enough. These guys are superheroes, larger than life, and some of them just have super skinny arms. I like the bulk in Roman's arms here, even in the pants, even in his torso. Everything is there. Plus, he has that Ultimate Edition torso. You got to remember, Mattel did not start Ultimates until 2019. So that's why I'm saying this definitely came before then. There is somewhat of a likeness in the head. It's just not perfect. I love the baggy pants. I like how you can see all the creases and everything. The boots are pretty spot on. The tattoos look good. I would say they did a pretty decent job on this. And here is the rear view of Roman. Again, looks pretty good. They did not hold off on detail in the back of this figure. So I dig it. I got to imagine that those pins in the shoulder would not be there had these gone through to production. It looks like the legs would have had that full double jointed articulation all the way back, which is good. Now, like I said, this is most likely an early pitched prototype that really wasn't refined. You'll notice a little bit of putty here in the shoulders, which tells me that this thing probably is not movable. Now, these are available on eBay, these prototypes to purchase. It's a 6-inch figure. You're talking about $950 plus shipping, $1,000 to have this. Is it worth it? You tell me. But again, I love the articulation. My biggest qualm with this whole design, I really don't like the T-joint right there where the hips meet the torso, but I understand why they did that. I do prefer Mattels in that sense. This looks very old school basic-ish. the T spot there. So here is another view of the back. And as you can see, they got C grips. Who knows if this figure would have had interchangeable hands and heads, but I will tell you this, the Undertaker one that they have up would have. Interestingly enough, this Undertaker has white tape around his thumbs. And I'm trying to figure out the era or what they were going for with this. He comes with the Winged Eagle WWF Championship, an additional head, additional arms, and additional hands, as well as a removable coat and chair. I got to imagine that this would have been their ultimate offering, whereas the other one would have probably been like their more base level offering. You'll notice he has a removable hat. The likenesses on this are just not there. He has the throat tat. I do like the bulk again, though. I would have really liked to have seen an image of the jacket on with the jacket arms, as well as a visual of the non-jacket arms on the body to see what that all would have looked like tied together. It looks like something would have been off with the tattoos, how they connect to the body and there's no tattoos on the torso. He looks like his torso is longer than the legs. I think that the legs on this Taker could have been improved. But again, this is an early prototype. What I'm seeing here, I think, is pretty decent. I think that I think Mattel obviously does a much better job. That goes without saying. But what I really like is that there is molded on elbow pads here. So that means you don't have to worry about that elbow pad limiting your articulation, which, you know, I love removable arm pieces as far as armbands, wristbands, things like that. But sometimes they do get in the way. And I think that this really does fix that issue. So it kind of is, you know, 6 and 1, half a dozen the other. It's all about preference here. You know what I'm saying? But the likenesses on this Taker definitely could use some work, especially that hairline, man. I know that's how his hairline was, but you got to give the dead man a little bit of love here, baby. Again, this one is $950. The other thing I noticed was the clasp on the back of that championship. It seems like the entire title is completely printed on without those vac pieces adhered to the actual strap and then painted. Plus, it only has like 2 prongs, it seems, for you to actually fixate that belt to a figure's body. So very, very interesting take on how they did this. I do dig it. I don't dig it $950 enough to pick one up. But we have one more figure we want to talk about. These are the 6 and 7 inch scale. I say 6 and 7 inch scale because the Roman Reigns is 6 inches. This Undertaker is 7 inches. I got to imagine it would have been in the same scale. When you're prototyping something, you're not focusing on the scale, more so focusing on the look, getting it out to the licensee and just being like, hey, like, do you like this? Are we going to go in this direction? Things like that. So I will say he looks like he has New Balance dad sneakers on, getting ready to mow the lawn there. They don't really align with how I imagine the Undertaker to be, but very, very cool nonetheless to see something like this. Obviously, this was all cast in black and then the flesh tone was painted on, as you can see there. But still, love seeing things like this. You know, I run unreleased wrestling figs on Instagram. This stuff just lights up my life. But we're going to take a look at one more, and that is John Cena. This one is a 12-inch. And for some reason, I guess because it's not painted, it's not all pieced together, it's only $500 on eBay, but still pretty pricey. But again, look at the arms on this thing. They're thick. They're very in line with John Cena's look. I really think that the body mold is pretty solid. The likeness, I don't see John Cena in that face. The sneakers are cool. The legs do look a little skinny. But again, I like the articulation of how much this thing moves. It's an ultimate before an ultimate. The molded on armbands, there's no wristbands, which is a big no-no when it comes to John Cena. So I'm curious as to whether they were going to have cloth goods or anything else with this line. Very cool to see, but 12-inch figures have never really fared too well in the wrestling space. You know, you get a couple here and there, but never a full line. So I'm curious how this would have done. But $500 for a 12-inch isn't too bad, though it is, kind of just in that grayscale look. You probably could get some putty to keep those legs and feet together and put it in a glass case, and it'll be a nice little display piece. But yeah, I mean, Oh, actually, from this angle, you can see there are wristbands on there. I see them now. I didn't in the other angle, it didn't look like it, but yes, you can see the wristbands here. All the detail in the shorts. I mean, they did a great job on these. I don't really know too much about what Spin Masters does for other licenses, but I think they did a pretty solid job here overall. I think if they had acquired the license, we would have ended up seeing an improvement in the likenesses in the face and everything like that, because they would have eventually been able to scan superstars and all that. But I mean, it's a pretty damn good job. We're talking about artists doing this stuff. I mean, they nailed John Cena's body, in my opinion. The arms are jacked, way more jacked, thick, and just like girthy than that of the Mattel ones. The forearms, look at that. The forearms are jacked on this figure. I just wish that Mattel would increase the size of the arms and appendages for their elites and ultimates, but we're too far in now, right? We have a formula down. And honestly, the thinness of the arms and such was exactly what held me off from collecting Mattel for quite some time. But man, what a thing to think about. What could have been if Spin Masters picked up the WWE action figure license because Mattel dropped it? Unfortunately, I should say, fortunately, that never happened. Fortunately, that never happened because Mattel still has the license now in 2025, and I believe it's going through 2027, 2028. So very exciting to see where Mattel takes it. But if they were to lose the license, would you be down with something that looked like this? Do away with the likenesses. I'm talking about the body and just the build of everything and how they were going to navigate actually being able to have these figures be movable and playable. But yeah, a lot of fun in thinking about things like this. So hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Fig Heel. Twitter is at The Fig Heel. Pick up the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, available now on Amazon.com, or simply go to heelbooks.com and make sure you join Whatnot at whatheel.com, and you'll get $15 off your first purchase. So curious to see what you guys think is your favorite figure from these three. Is it Roman Reigns? Is it Undertaker? Is it John Cena? Comment below and let us know. I'm going to say, as overall body mold, I really do dig the Cena. But as an overall figure, I think the Roman Reigns probably looks the best right here in this. I think it looks very, very cool. So curious to see what you guys think. Until next time, take it easy, guys. Peace. Are you a wrestling figure collector of WWE Mattel, AEW Jazzwares, and everything in between? Then you need Fig Heel's Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, the modern edition covering all releases from 2010 to present day. Featuring over 5,000 photos of action figures from the hottest brands, including independent toy makers. Keep track of what you have, want, and need, including loose, mock, and overall collection value. With shots by Matthew Goldberg, the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia is a must-have for collectors. Premium, full-color, and value black and white editions available now on Amazon.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Fig Heel. Pick up my book series on Amazon and my merchandise on ProWrestlingTees.com/FigHeel. Join my official sponsor, Whatnot, at WhatHeel.com and receive $15 off your first purchase.